David and Boxer. Yeah. Also, like from my team, I have Alan joining, and he'll go over the smart contracts. Um, and yeah, like I'll introduce everyone to Genie. So Genie is the first NFT marketplace aggregator. So you're able to buy NFTs from multiple marketplaces in a single transaction and also sell. So on the buy side, we're taking all the off-chain APIs from the marketplaces like OpenSea, Variable, and we're creating order books. And then for on-chain data like NFTX, NFT20, we're pulling that from the graph and also consolidating that into the order book. And we're refreshing that data 1 to every 5 minutes. And then for selling NFTs, we see where we can liquidate your NFTs for instant liquidity. So right now it's NFTX and NFT20. In a few weeks, we'll also implement OpenSea bids. So you'll be able to liquidate into OpenSea bids. So you could also sell multiple NFTs at the same time, and we find the highest price that you can get at the moment, whether that's a bid or whether that's like the floor price on NFTX or NFT20. And yeah, we're excited to see more liquidity fragmentation in the market and have Genie become the default interface for interacting with NFTs. And we think that this will happen in 2022 as you get Coinbase launching a marketplace, Kraken, Reddit, and some other big secondary marketplaces. And then, of course, NFT studios launching their own primary marketplaces. So yeah, we'd love to work closely with like the Dune community and find some valuable insights into like what we can improve and like what trends we should be watching out for, and of course like the value proposition of an aggregator for the NFT space, and how that helps liquidity. So yeah, thank you everyone for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I don't know, maybe if you can walk us through like the front end interface, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, let me. I can also give out the like the beta and like the password.
Yeah,
Where
that'd be
should I
great
do
too.
that?
Maybe do that in like the chat so it's not in the recording, just in
Okay,
case.
cool. Um, yeah, chat. Okay, cool. I sent in the chat for lectures. Um, and I'll share my screen right now. I'm always looking at Coffee's table that you made for us. Yeah.
Yeah. On tomorrow's lecture, I'm actually gonna show them how to work with some Genie data. So you're about to have a lot more, what's the word, activity, Genie data analysis wise,
I'm
hopefully.
looking forward to it. Yeah, so this is the current Genie interface. So you have two sides, the you pay, you receive side. So it's very similar to like Uniswap. So the you pay side, you have your wallet with all your NFTs in there. If your NFTs have instant liquidity that we can liquidate them for, you'll see the price that we can get for you. So my NFTs got rugged, and there's no instant liquidity that I can tap into. So I'll just like use my ETH balance to pay for NFTs right now. So I go on like a collection that I like. So maybe it's like, something like World of Women, and I can see like all the NFTs across the market. So like most of it's on OpenSea for now. You also have like this variable one here. So I would just click on all the ones I want to buy. I can also like filter by traits. And I can also do appraisals for every NFT using Genie. So we're not only aggregating liquidity, but we're also aggregating information. And we'll make this appraisal screen a bit more interesting. We'll add like rarity.tools and add like upshot and other like appraisal mechanisms that our users subscribe to over time. So yeah, you can see the metadata, you can see the price chart and the history for that NFT. and once you add them to the swap, if you have enough ETH to buy this, then you can go ahead and do that. And then this is an example of like NFTX. So NFTX is based on their liquidities on an AMM. So for every NFT that you buy, the next NFT gets more expensive. So with Genie, you see this in real time. So what we're doing here is the smart contract is buying fractions from SushiSwap, where NFTX holds their liquidity, and then we're buying enough fractions in order to like target redeem a specific NFT in the NFTX vaults, and that's like a 5% fee for everyone. So we calculate that as well. So we're actually like making that like 8 steps of redeeming an NFT like a lot easier. And so yeah, every NFT I click, the next one gets more expensive, and then it auto balances with like the other marketplaces since I'm sorting by from low to high right now. And then if I wanted to buy that, it shows you the route. So yeah, going from sushi, getting the ERC20 token for that fractionalized NFT, and then redeeming it on NFTX. And here's the 5% fee. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Andrew, is there anything else you wanted me to go over? Mhm. Yeah, and Alan, let me know if there's anything else you want to add on top of what I went over.
I mean,
Yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Kofi.
Yeah, I was just going to say that tomorrow we'll be looking at some Genie data, but we won't be doing so much of kind of what's the word? Reading through the contract itself. So either you or I could kind of do like just a kind of a quick run through of like this is what the Genie contract looks like and kind of the multi-asset swap function that actually gets called when people do a swap, and just that people can take a look at that. Yeah, happy to open that up or to kind of have you do it, but that could be a good way to kind of just kind of close that out before maybe doing the Q&A.
Sure, I'll do it. I'll give a quick overview of the Genie Swap contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me share my screen. Can everyone see?
Yep, think so.
Yes.
So here is the main Genie Swap contract. Total of 916 transactions so far. I do want to point out one thing before I talk about the smart contract, but Kofi, are you aware that these values here are not may not truly be indicative of how much Ether the user has paid for their NFTs?
Yeah, I know that in the what's the word? I'm trying to remember the name of the function. It doesn't come to mind, but I know that in the contract itself. Let me maybe pull it up so I can remember what I'm trying to say. 1 second.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because I know the Dune, I haven't looked too closely into the Genie Dune analytics, but from my knowledge, the analytics just aggregate the ether up, but there's some caveats here, right? Like if a user, like here, this user bought 6 subducts, but in actuality, it seems like he attempted to buy 7, and the 7th one reverted, so he was transferred back 1.98 in the
Yeah.
final step. You can see that in internal transactions as well. It's the last thing in internal transactions. So
Yeah, that's a good example.
so yeah, this value is not, the value on is not like true necessarily.
Yeah, that's a very good point to bring up. I was a bit behind because I'm trying to pull up contracts myself at the moment, but yeah, I remember I started out looking at the value in trade details, which yeah wasn't always right for the reasons that you mentioned. And then I started looking at how much ETH was being passed in each buy event. But actually on that point, there is some improvements that need to be made there because yeah, as you're pointing out, like the value passed in always isn't always the kind of the true trading volume either. So yeah, there is some optimization that has to happen there.
Yeah, that does that. It's not a trivial issue to solve.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Yeah,
In fact, after what's the word? After this focus group, well, maybe not immediately after in terms of time, but like at some point, it'd be good for us to, sit down and so that I can have somebody else to bounce some ideas off of how best to build.
yeah. I'd be curious to hear your ideas. I haven't thought about it too much, but yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, cool.
Okay, let me. I'll walk through the contract real quick. Yeah, so this Genie swap contract is the main contract. This is the only contract that the front end interacts with, but there's also some helper peripheral contracts that this main contract needs to use, right? We define some structs at the start. This variable is key here, market registry, and this points to a different contract. And this contract basically holds an array of all our marketplaces. So like OpenSea is one, Rarible is one, NFTX is one. And you can see we had, individual transactions to add markets to this marketplace registry contract. So it's extensible, right? We're able to add, as many new marketplaces as we want. And then the main function is just multi-asset swap. And this is what the front end will call. And most key probably is this one, trade details. And this actually will look like an array of call data, right? Of encoded call data. And that's kind of how the extensibility works, right? We for if we want to transact with OpenSea, for example, we're going to pack and encode some call data, that contains all the relevant trade information, and then send that to this OpenSea market contract, which is a library which we custom made that is basically a wrapper on top of OpenSea's marketplace contract. Yeah, we can see here we have the OpenSea interface, and this is their signature for atomic match. And I think it'll become clear here. So here's a library. This is kind of the function that we will send raw call data to buy assets for ETH, right? So it basically takes an array of OpenSea buys and then we iterate over this array, and then we call this helper function. And then this underscore by asset for ETH will end up calling the atomic match here. So overall, it's literally just, we take your inputs on the front end, encode it into appropriate call data, and then shoot off all these parameters to multi-asset swap, and then from there we use custom marketplace contracts, right? And this one's the one I'm showing you is for OpenSea, which is where the majority of stuff happens on Genie Swap. And that's all.
So the data structure is the same for different market?
No.
So maybe the multi-swap or NFT swap only support one market in the same time.
That is not true.
So I can buy a batch of a size from different market in one time.
Correct. You could buy an NFT from Rarible, and I mean currently the front end does not support Rarible, but in the future, in a single transaction, you can buy an NFT from Rarible. You can also buy an NFT from OpenSea.
That's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it is.
And any other question? Just when you show the website, you talk about the liquid. I don't know what the liquid represented. Did you mean it's the number of the NFT or amount of the NFT is this liquid or something else?
Are you referring to this screen?
To the sell side.
Yeah. The referring to the sell side liquidity, not all NFTs have liquidity pools on NFTX or NFT20, and the ones that do not cannot be sold using Genie. You see, these two are able to because they have a liquidity pool on either NFTX or NFT20. The remainder of my NFTs do not, so it says no instant liquidity available.
Okay. That's mean the NFT below is not included in the market. I can mean that is right.
Not exactly. It means these NFTs do not have liquidity pools on NFTX or NFT20.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the future, we'll also support liquidating, selling your NFTs into existing bids. So if you have a bid on OpenSea for your NFT, you can come on Genie and Genie will find the highest price that we can sell your NFT for instantly, and we'll liquidate it into the highest price, whether it's a bid on OpenSea or Variable, or if it's the NFT exchange price.
Cool stuff. Any other questions, confusions anybody might have around Genie and how that works? If not, perfectly fine if people kind of need a bit of time to absorb all that knowledge that we just learned. If not, it could be all good for us to, what's the word? close out the session here and let people, experiment with the front end as they please, and then get back into the learning tomorrow. What do you think, Andrew? That's some crickets there.
I think Andrew said
Andrew.
that he's got to go at he put in the chat, he's got to go at 12:30. Just a question about for the Genie guys on one of the questions that you have for the focus group was around the fees made for each marketplace. What are you guys hoping to achieve with that? It's just basically in terms of the marketplaces that are ultimately making Genie the most margin. And would you look then to list more of those assets from a priority standpoint, or what's behind that question?
Yeah, it's just showing like how beneficial like an aggregator is for directing like liquidity. So, for OpenSea, like I guess it doesn't really matter because that's where most of the volume is. But aggregators are really positive sum for the ecosystem. So if you're a small marketplace starting off and you don't have that marketing drive behind you, an aggregator can come in and highlight and show off the liquidity that you have, and we can direct volume. And I think like the marketplace fees is a good representative of that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys have the password and the beta, so feel free to like play around with everything, and shoot us over any questions that you might have. We're available 24/7 to answer stuff. So and thank you all for like being here, and thanks Andrew and Coffee and everyone, the other organizers for setting this up and considering us.
Thanks for coming through, guys. Thanks for coming through, Scott and the Genie team, and introducing everybody to the protocol. It was really great having you. So I guess that kind of brings us to the conclusion of our first protocol sit-in talk, and tomorrow we'll have lectures, same time, same place as the last one. But it's been good. Happy to see everyone here, and looking forward to continuing on tomorrow.
Thanks everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks all.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Bye. Thank you.